Hey guys, Adam aka CS Radical here. This is going to be a bit of a different video. Obviously, by the title, you're thinking, well, what the hell is he talking about? I'm a gaming guy, for those who are coming to this channel out of a completely different source, because this is going to get up as soon as I can get it up. So, I just watched the Royal Rumble. I'm a big wrestling fan, for those who don't know. I have put up a Hell in a Cell review. I think it's the only one I've done so far. I'm not sure. I can't remember. You can't expect me to have a memory. But, there's a lot of things I need to get off my chest, and the obvious thing was the actual Rumble match, which we'll get to, but let's quickly breeze through everything else. Now, first off, the pre-show was awesome. The three guys they had on, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, they gelled so well together. So many good jokes that they were throwing at each other back and forth, and it was really nice. It was refreshing compared to them just having, a couple of guys on the roster like Tensai or The Miz or something like that, and making it into something that's just a really bad, like, ESPN parody. And, so with those three, it ended up working at least to an advantage, and the fans were loving it. Like, anytime Ric Flair was speaking, they went nuts for it. So it worked. The pre-show, the kickoff match with the New Age Outlaws and Cody Rhodes and Goldust, that was an interesting match. I'm not surprised the Outlaws won. I mean, we do know ahead of time that there are seeds being planted for a Goldust Cody Rhodes feud for WrestleMania, so that didn't come as any surprise, especially when they go into the Rumble when Goldust accidentally eliminated Rhodes, which again we'll get to once we get to the Rumble. The opening match with Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt was one of the best matches, quite frankly, I've seen in a long time, because there was no better display of just so many good spots. Like, all the things that Wyatt was throwing at Bryan was just so good. The Sister Abigail on the barricade, I literally holy shitted on that one. Like, that was incredibly good looking. So that match was awesome too. The fact that Bray won wasn't a big deal to me at that point in time. And again, we'll get to more stuff. What the hell was the next thing? My memories are... Oh yeah, it was a Big Show and Lesnar. That one didn't care much for. Nobody really has for the Big Show anyway, so it wasn't that big a deal. Lesnar jumped Show at the beginning of the match before the bell even rang and just beat the crap out of him with a steel chair for 5 minutes. It was pretty... Well, the announcer said uncomfortable, but it wasn't... It was, but not for the reasons that they were saying. They were saying it was uncomfortable because of just the beating Show was getting, and I think it was uncomfortable just because it was 5 really long and boring minutes of chair shots, which didn't make any sense whatsoever, and I don't think really puts Lesnar over that strong, because the match itself was pretty much a minute. And Lesnar, for the most part, was drowsy after he took all the chair shots. He took a knockout punch right off the bat. So I don't know how Lesnar looks that strong when he needed to take 20 chair shots, and then, yeah, sure, he did an F5, but, look at the damage he did. It's like what they've been doing in TNA with Magnus, where, they're not building him strong, they're just making him look like, oh, because he wins a match, that's chalking up a win in his column. Like, that's not the point. Either way, like, whatever, we move on with that. And then last but not least, Cena Orton. I'm going to be honest with you, I skipped like at least 10 minutes of the match, and then I got back just to see finisher, stolen finisher. I'm sick and tired of WWE booking that, especially for Cena matches. You're ruining finishing moves by doing that. And the fact that they keep stealing them, like, that ruins everything. Any fan will sit back and go, well, what the after both finishers hit and they don't work, you're going to get a shit finish. And sure enough, we did. The Wyatt family comes back out, and they end up attacking Cena, or distracting him. Orton RKO Cena to win, and then the Wyatts attack Cena after the bell. It's an interesting feud, I'm not going to lie, but the booking of the match really hurt that for me, because I'm sick and fucking sick. See, I'm already slurring my words. I'm fucking sick and tired of Cena matches being a finisher exchange. Like, that match with The Rock was the worst match I've seen in a long time at WrestleMania, because all it was finisher. Finishing moves were supposed to mean something. What the hell happened to them? Like, Sister Abigail for Wyatt seems to be working just fine, so all of a sudden the Attitude Adjustment and the RKO, which used to be the two most lethal moves in WWE for a long time, they mean nothing now. So how the hell do they end up being champions if their finishing moves are no good? It makes no sense. But anyway, we get to the Rumble. Punk, I knew ahead of time, was going to be there till the bitter end, and I wasn't shocked that he was. But then when things, when the match kept going, I mean, the Shield worked really well together. That was great. I mean, you had the Wyatts near the end. Cody Rhodes and Goldust did their jobs. You had surprises like Nash, and JBL's little spot was pretty good. I like that. And then, everything seemed fine. Batista comes out at 28, everybody pops, we're good. Del Rio gets thrown out, that kind of stuff. 29, who's 29? It was, I can't for the life of me remember what 29 was. But 30, we were all thinking, okay, surprise time. It's got to be Bryan. That's got to be it. Everybody, before even the countdown started for number 30, people were just yes chants all over the place because they were thinking, here we go. The big surprise at the end of it. Everything's going to be so cool. We're going to be ready. We're ready to go and everything. And then Ray's music hits, and poor Ray, but he just became public enemy number 1. So we'll finish the match, and then the real rant's going to start. Now, poor Ray, the second he got thrown out, people cheered for it. Shit started really going downhill from there. I mean, the C's got planned, obviously, for the Shield. Reigns almost got eliminated by Ambrose, and then he ends up eliminating Cesaro, Ambrose, and Rollins out at the same time, and he sets the new record for 12 eliminations. That's crazy. I mean, oh yeah, Sheamus returned. That was another thing. And I'm glad to see him back, too. The final 4 ended up being Punk, Sheamus, Reigns, and Batista. Now, we're all sitting there thinking, okay, judging by where this is going, it's probably going to be Batista Punk at the end. That way there's a little bit of unpredictability, because everybody assumed Batista was going to win. So if Punk's left in there, it brings a little bit of doubt, because Punk, we're also hearing rumors that Punk's career might be ending soon, like at sometime in the summer. It's up in the air, he said. He's not sure if he wants to keep doing it. Because, I mean, you know how Punk is. He said in his documentary, he's very goal-oriented. Once he gets to the top of something and he gets bored and he wants to try something else and move on. So it wouldn't shock me if he ends up leaving. Now, we all sit there and think, okay, well, we'll just see what happens with Reigns and Sheamus. Now, Sheamus, we were figuring he's going to be the first one out. He's just coming back. Like, why would he be in? All of a sudden, Kane eliminates Punk. Kane had been in the match earlier, and he looks stupid having to come out. I figure, like, can he at least not come in his normal pants, like the old flame pants, like, or something like that? But no, he comes out in the suit still. I'm like, oh my god, guys. And then all of a sudden, he just pops out of nowhere, throws Punk over, and then starts beating the crap out of him, surely to set up a big match to Elimination Chamber or something like that. And at that point, everybody just lost it, because that pretty much meant we knew what was going to happen. Sheamus got knocked out afterwards by Reigns. That ended up being Elimination 12. And the two exchanged spears, Batista and Reigns, and it was good. Everybody just immediately shoved on Reigns. I know that's what the WWE wanted anyway. They wanted them to go towards Reigns, but they did it in the wrong manner. I think getting rid of the Shield was the launching pad. The fact that, for reasons I'll explain in about a minute, will make sense. But Reigns just became, the guy at that point. And everybody was just hating on Batista, and I don't blame them. And Reigns was this close, and Batista throws him out, and that's it. Batista's going to WrestleMania. So here's where the rant's going to come through. This was the worst booked ending to a Rumble I've ever seen for two reasons. One, Punk got eliminated first out of the final 4. That is a big mistake. I don't care if you're, drawing the seeds out. I don't care. That didn't make any sense, and it completely made this Rumble so predictable at the end. And that's why number 2 comes into just complete and utter play here. Daniel Bryan was not in the Rumble. The most over guy in the company right now was not in the biggest match of the year, not counting the main event at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan was not in the Rumble. He had the match of the night. Still no Rumble. I get that Bray Wyatt wasn't in. But I mean, Golas and Rhodes were doing double duty. I don't care that they were on the kickoff. They still had a match. And they still were in the Rumble. Why is WWE continuing to ignore that this guy is the guy? That this guy is so over. He's almost as over as Austin. I think at times he's even more over. It's crazy. The reaction at the beginning of the night was incredible. That match was so riveting. People were all over the place for that match. And even when 30 was coming up, they were already thinking this has got to be it. So, the yes chant's going nuts. And they ignored it. They are really pissing people off. And that's why the entire rest of the match, after 30, everybody was booing, because they pretty much were convinced at that point Batista's winning. And that's where my other point's going to come into play. I know the guy's a star, and I know he would have never come for any other reason but to go after the world title. But I'm sorry, Batista, you have no quality and just no, like, there's no reasoning whatsoever that you should be in the main event at WrestleMania. I'm sorry. Props to you for for getting the Guardians of the Galaxy part. I'm so excited for that movie. And, you know, I've always loved the guy's career. Heel Batista at the tail end of his time against Cena was awesome. I loved it. But at this point in time, I'm sorry, man, but you should not be there. You really shouldn't. I'm not even saying Bryan should be. Punk would be just as good as a piece to put up at the main event. He deserves to be there too. I'm sorry. Rock was a very, very tiny exception because Rock is pretty much the biggest star WWE's ever had. You can argue that with Stone Cold. You know, it goes both ways. But quite frankly, you didn't have the credentials to have a main event just like that. You don't just walk in and get that main event just because, you know, you got a Guardians of the Galaxy part. That doesn't work. You haven't earned that. You should have had to actually have a little, if anything, like, he should have shown up sometime in October, November, and had a little bit of a run first. The fact that he came in literally 2 weeks ago is bullshit. Actually, no, it was a week ago. He came in a week ago. That's fucking garbage, guys. That's terrible. How can you guys keep doing this to the fans? You're just... I don't care that you guys don't think that Bryan is part of, you know, the machine or whatever conspiracy bullshit, you know, any smart fan wants to mark out on, you know. I believe in one simple concept when it comes to... Sorry, I was just waving away a fly there. I come under one concept when it comes to wrestling. Whoever is the over guy in the company should not only, like, at the very least be at the forefront, maybe not in the main event, but at least in the forefront. And the fact that Daniel Bryan was not even in the Rumble match is an absolute travesty, and you guys should be ashamed of yourselves, and you deserved every boo that got. And I really hope that message is clear to you, that you fucked up again. The fact that not even Punk got to end the match. The second he went out, everybody knew, well, there's not even a question anymore. You guys made, quite honestly, one of the worst Rumbles of the year now. Because a Rumble is never supposed to be predictable. Never. Made it. Final Four. You made it more than predictable. You made it painfully predictable.
So I hope you guys try something for WrestleMania to make this better. Because now we know it's going to be Batista Orton, a match nobody really wants to see. So at this point, you better think of a damn good match for Bryan. I would assume it's going to be one of two things. It would be either Triple H or it'll be Taker. And either one of those is acceptable. If it's not one of those two, then you can die for all us fans care. Because if he's not in a match he deserves to be in for the, you know, hard-ass work he's done, the fact that he is the most over guy in the company right now. And I'm counting that above the let's go Cena sucks chance. He is the most over person in the company right now. If you don't give him that respect at the biggest show of them all in 2 months, you're going to really pay for that. I hope you understand that. The network might sell. The new network? But after that 6-month commitment, if the fans are going to remember that. If they don't see Bryan in the position they want him in at WrestleMania. At this point, we know he's not going to be winning the title. But at least if he's in a match that's important, something that works, then it's good. There's a whole thing going around about him against Lesnar or him against Sheamus. Like, no, that's not good enough. Taker or Triple H. If it's not one of those two, we're going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed. And believe me, there will be hell to pay. Because you can only disrespect us and ignore us for so long before you will find out that there are people capable of switching you off. I did it for a long period of time during the beginning of the PG era. I have no problem doing that again and making NXT my only show. So, I guess the overall review,
the pay-per-view was really good, despite, the first half was awesome. Let's put it that way. But you know what? Let's even take an extra special parody of this. The Royal Rumble was just nothing more than a B+. I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, guys, that was frustrating to watch. I was so pumped for the Rumble, and normally they always are exciting. They had good moments. Kofi's elimination, I forgot to mention that, was really good. Like, the fact that he found 2 ways this year to really come close to being knocked out, that was great. And Rusev, another one I forgot, Rusev, he's going to be something big. And he looked like $1 million when he came into that. So there's a lot of things to look at and say, you know what, they did good. But they booked the last 2 matches especially terrible. The Lesnar show match, like that, I ignored it anyway. But the fact that you had another Cena-Orton match, or at least another Cena match with just finishers exchange back and forth, and then a Rumble match that quite frankly just pissed off everyone in the audience tonight. That Bryan Wyatt match is the only thing lifting this up at this point. So, anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this. I'm probably going to do more wrestling-based stuff, I think, because, at least at this point in time, I'm really passionate about it, and it's also starting to really piss me off. So, some rants may be coming along the way, and we'll be seeing how things run along later. But thanks for watching, guys. I need to quickly upload this and go to bed, because I have school in 9 hours. Eesh, I got to get moving. Anyway, guys, take it easy.